Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Billy Joel, and So It Goes, a new documentary coming your way about the iconic musician Billy Joel, his life, his career, and his music. And this film, I know it was released in almost 2.5 hour sections, but anytime HBO releases these like two-part documentaries, it's like, no, it's just one documentary. You just cut it so that you could play it across multiple days, and even sometimes back to back on the same night, which makes absolutely no sense. But that wasn't going to be this one, seeing as both parts are 2.5 hours long. And that might sound like a lot, but Billy Joel has such a big life, and it's so poignant and impactful, and just so much he has gone throughout his life. From, he was pretty young when he was really getting into music, and all the way up to now, where he's still performing at an elite level. This film, at almost 5 hours, really does work. From a pacing perspective, it's always engaging. There's always something to latch on to. Sometimes the film's going a little quicker through certain sections than others. Others, it really digs deep and finds the depth of a story or an element or an experience in Joel's life and really expressing its impact. This is really well structured, put together, shot documentary from directors Susan Lacey and Jessica Levin. And it really puts Billy Joel front and center, who's very honest about his experiences. And I think one of the biggest strengths of this film is it doesn't pull punches. It doesn't try to sugarcoat things. You hear from all of his ex-wives, and really hearing from his friends and his peers who saw him at his worst. This film does not shy away from his being institutionalized and having serious mental health issues and depression early on in his life, especially like falling in love with your best friend's wife being such a big thing, and then they became such a strong couple and business partners. And that's a big emotional drop in this film, is that transition from one part to another, where it's just like, this section of his life's over and she's no longer in it. And you have so many great commentators who just add the depth and experience. Like, you have his friends who are close with him, those kinds of colleagues, but you also have the likes of Paul McCartney and Bruce Springsteen and Garth Brooks and Pink, Nas, Jackson Browne, Sting. So many people from different walks of life of music being able to express their experiences. And you have his kids, his stepchild, his, like Lexa Ray, and his wives opening up about the horrible downs of his life, but also highlighting the huge joys and success this man had. Anytime they start playing his music, I couldn't help but just start singing along, because all of his music is so iconic and beautiful and impactful. And this film highlights what makes him so unique, his perspective on piano and what his upbringing was with Bach and Beethoven, Mozart, all of these old school classical music, and also just his evolution from one album to the next. And also the criticism, like, people didn't like Billy Joel, and like, looking back, it seems so absurd, but the critics were never the hugest fan of his, and how that impacted him. His abandonment from his father, there's a whole section him trying to reconnect with his father, and that section really hit on a deep emotional level. And that's the thing, there are big heavy moments throughout this 5-hour film, and there's concert footage that just so rousing and exciting and just getting into it. What's most impressive about this film is how it's structured. This is not your standard just linear go through biopic. It uses his music, his discography, to structure the whole entire film. And when it'll talk about when an album comes out, it'll talk about certain songs, and then those certain songs open a door to a whole entire different aspect of Billy Joel's life. And it's compelling in that way. It keeps it flowing and interesting in different types of way when you're looking at presentation of the documentary. But what is so impactful is this structure that uses his music as launching pads for all these different aspects of his life. It reinforces just how authentic and meaningful and rich his music is, because all of these experiences and people that have influenced it, it gave me a whole new perspective on his music and what it means and how it connected with him and flowed through him, and also how just impressive each and every album that he made had. So many great elements to it, the evolution of his career. And I think especially in like the second half, there's some elements that, it starts moving a little bit quicker. But this film is so dynamic and large and engrossing, and Billy Joel just being there, expressing himself in his own way, really adds so much personality and depth to this exploration of Billy Joel, the man, the musician, and how that all connects. A family man and that struggle and that baggage of having been abandoned by his father, but never wanting to be that kind of father. And trust me, I could understand that for sure. But this documentary is epic in scale, epic in musicality, just brings it all to life, and its storytelling is rich and dynamic and reinforces the subject, this man and his amazing work. But those are my thoughts on Billy Joel and So It Goes. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in, supporting your Wasteland reviewer.